Peace, family, peace. I see you. Ashe. It's your boy Matt, the young king, the young god, Jaden with us. You know what I mean? Back when I was download from the University of Black's Law. Quick disclaimer before we get into the information. Y'all already know. If you're a racist, please exit the university. No racism is allowed in the university. Not even a low bet. You know what I mean? Just can't have it. All right? If you have discriminatory attributes as part of your character, please exit the university. If you are not open minded and not willing to be taught, please exit the university. Okay. Um. So that way, if you're in here, you choose to be in here, right? Always putting your gun in your head, telling you got to be in here. You're in here because you're trying to get some answers that you've been looking for your entire life that you knew was out there. You just wasn't looking in the right places, and it wasn't time yet. You know what I'm saying? We're in a different age now. It's the age of Aquarius. It's the age of knowing. So those of you who have been aware and been on social media, there's a lot of information that's coming out now about just all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? The true history of what they call black people. There's a conscious movement that's taking over. And what the Matrix calls it is global warming. That's what they've been telling you global warming was about. They've been lying to you for a long time about global warming. Global warming was about what we're going through now. For those of you who've been following some of the mainstream news, a piece of the sun broke off about 2 weeks ago. This is the reason why for the earthquakes, and this is just the beginning, family. This is just the beginning. Um, anyways, getting to the information. Uh, Last lecture, we told you we was gonna break it down to a couple different parts. We're just trying to give you some basic information about not just who you are, but what you are. You know, what is it? What is the scientific makeup of this thing you call a body that you walk around in every day? You know what I'm saying? Uh, understanding these things is can or understanding self, all right, gives you a sense of direction, right? How can you possibly know where you're going, where you need to go, if you don't know who? First of all, where you're at. Number one. Number two, what are you, right? Or vice versa. You can't have one without the other. You can't have who without the what without the who. You know what I'm saying? Um, so in the last lecture, my son was breaking down the science of this, what they call you, what they told you was a meat suit. You know what I'm saying? Some of the science on how you see, the four phases of matter. Um, have them do a quick recap about the four phases of matter, just for those that didn't catch the last lecture, maybe bring them up to speed a little bit. But yeah, go ahead, King. So let them know.
So peace, y'all. Like you said, the last lecture, for me, we was doing a little bit more science. I just wanted to, in this one, because I said in the last one I wasn't done, which I wasn't. I just wanted to get a little bit deeper, into the science, um, of like just the reality around you and how you can, and about how your body and your mind relates to the world around you, and how you, and just getting into the science of how you can manipulate atoms, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to go a little bit deeper about, uh, physical reality, the makeup of it. You see what I'm saying? And because once you understand the makeup of reality, and you understand, how your mind is the dictator of reality, that's when you understand that you can manipulate reality. You become the master of your own reality. You feel me? But first, you have to understand, to become the master of reality, you have to understand the science of your reality. You have to understand the science of yourself. Because if you don't understand that, then how can you ever uh, be a master of anything, for real, for real? If you don't understand if you aren't the master of yourself, how can you be the master of anything? So I just wanted to go back a little bit on, um, the visual side of things. You see what I'm saying? I want to just refresh, right? Well, what I said last time. Um, so boom, the sun is the dictator of physical reality. For me, I'm gonna just reiterate a little bit what I said last time. Feel me? The sun, heat is what dictates the speed in which molecules or atoms vibrate. Right? The generator for heat in all the cosmos is the stars, which we call suns. You feel me? Um, so like I said before, your brain is the projector. Your sun is the tape that's being put into the projector, and then the atoms that are all around you, that are all dancing around you, is the canvas or the green screen. See what I'm saying? And then your brain projects the information onto the green screen, and now you have physical reality. Now I see the dresser in front of me. See what I'm saying? Because the sun gave me the information and the light that traveled into my retinas. The cones picked it up. The information traveled to my visual cortex and my pineal gland, and then spit the information back out. Now I'm in a room. You see what I'm saying? And because our brains work similarly, right? We all have an agreed upon reality. You see what I'm saying? We all have, our brains are all built upon the same principles and the same thing. So me and my dad see, you know what I'm saying, the same thing in front of us, which is the dresser and the wall and the thing hanging up on the wall, right? But when you look at a cat or a dog's brain, cats and dogs don't see reality the same way that we see reality. You see what I'm saying? They see on a whole different color spectrum, especially cats. You see what I'm saying? A cat could run around at night in the same way that he could see just even better at nighttime than they can at daytime. All right? Dogs, correct me if I'm wrong, but dogs are colorblind, correct? Dogs don't see color. You see all the color in the room, they can't see that shit. Right? When you study the function of the human mind and you compare it with all the other minds of the other biological creatures that we share the planet with, you begin to realize that everybody sees reality through their own perspective or their own lens. Every creature sees reality different. Then you start to understand that reality is not objective. You this is when you begin to understand that reality can be manipulated. It can be because reality really isn't truly real. Reality isn't truly real once you understand that literally there's hundreds of different creatures, right, that are all around you. Especially, if you live like near the woods. And every single one of those creatures sees reality and hears reality in a different way than you do. You feel me? Like a fly, for instance, has how many eyes? You know what I'm saying? It sees how, right? Snakes see body heat. Snake can literally read your body temperature, bro. Like they see body heat. They see energy.
Energy.
So that this is it. This is when you begin to understand that the brain is only a filtering mechanism for the reality around you. Your brain filters the information and then pushes the information back out. But everybody has different filters. So you're like, okay, you understand that we all have different filters, but you also have to understand that each organism sees a different spectrum of light. And once you understand that other creatures see more of reality than you do, this is where you really like what? Like ask yourself, how could it, bro, a snake, when we look at each other, we see flesh and blood. You see what I'm saying? We like the snake literally sees past your flesh and reads your body temperature, scans your body, smells you, smell with his tongue. Like what? Like you have to understand. Like nigga, can you smell with your tongue? You feel me? Like it's like these niggas, dogs and dog can hear. You know what I'm saying? A wolf can hear 2 miles away. Like what? You feel me? And it's all due to the biological capabilities of their avatar of their body. You feel me? But what you don't understand is you only see less than 1% of the light spectrum and you only use 10% of your genetics. The other 90% of your genes are called it's called junk DNA. They say that it's all just bullshit. You can't do nothing with it. Right? But you also don't understand that you can only see less than 1% of the light spectrum because you only use two of your eyes. Little do you know that you have three. Right? You have one inside your head. It's called your pineal gland. Right? They'll never tell you in school. They never told you about this shit. They never told you that you had a gland inside of your head. Like that basically sits in the middle of your brain that has the same cones that are in your retinas that pick up light and color. That this gland that you were never told about has retinal tissue, right? And is able to pick up light frequency and actually helps to process light frequency along with your visual cortex. They will never share that science with you though. Because then you start to realize like, oh shit, these niggas ain't crazy. The niggas actually do have a third eye. Niggas actually do have a third eye. This shit crazy. Like I'm telling you, once you start to really study the science of yourself, you really start to realize that, oh shit, these niggas been on to something the whole time. And niggas just been making fun of them thinking they were crazy. Niggas talking about open your third eye and shit. Like, get the fuck out of here. Whole time, you actually do have a third eye.
It's really your first eye.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. It's actually your first eye. That's the main eye that you're supposed to use. This is the eye that you use to see the rest of the light spectrum. Right? They call it the spirit world.
Quantum physics.
They call the rest of the light spectrum that you have no access to, they call it the spirit world or the quantum realm or, all that bullshit. But it's only because you're not using your first eye. If you're using your first eye, you'll be able to see every wavelength of light in front of you at all times. Do you have no idea how much shit is going on around you at all times that you can't see. Like you really have no idea. There's everything. There's never nothing around you. There's always something around you, and you can't see it. There's always like, bro. If you were using your first eye, you would be able to see all different kinds of gases. You would be able to see different colors you never even thought even existed.
The fact that there's nothing is something.
Like, bro, you literally have no idea. Like, there's literally hundreds of different colors that exist that you can't even think of. Try to imagine a different color that you've never seen before. You can't. But if you had access to your first eye that you were never told about, you'll be able to see these things. You'll be able to see what they call ghosts, which is just people that are vibrating higher than you. Right? Excuse me. You'll be able to see harmful gases like carbon monoxide. You know what I'm saying? You can't smell it, you can't see it. But if you breathe it in for too long, it'll kill you. Right? But if you were able to see the color, then you would be able to know what it is. But you don't use the things that your body is capable of. So you have no recollection of these things. Right? You don't even know how to take care of your own body. People don't even understand. People can't even name their own organs. You know what I'm saying? Or even the parts of their brains. Like you literally just go your whole life relying on a doctor to diagnose you and to give you medication and to tell you what's wrong with you. Like you don't trust your instincts, your intuition, nothing. You just rely on the government and what they put in front of you to come to whenever you're in need. Like, but it's so.
What? Tell them. What was eugenics about?
Eugenics?
Yeah.
What you mean?
Because I think they were. Matter of fact, never mind. We'll leave that alone. We'll see. That's the topic for a whole nother lecture. Certain medications they allow us to take to talk about genetics, vaccinations when they're kids, and send them to these schools. so on and so forth. But what was I gonna say? Break down to them how we descend in matter. How when we descend down the dimensions to come here, how we change.
Okay. So when you start, all right. So when you start at the third dimensional level, you have a physical body. All right. But like I said before, physical reality isn't actually physical at all. You see what I'm saying? It's just condensed energy, right? So say a being was coming down from the fifth dimension, right? In the fifth dimension, you have a light body. You see what I'm saying? This is when you get your light body. This physical body can turn into a light body, right? When you up your frequency and your molecules vibrate fast, this is when you become an ethereal being again. This is when you turn into your light being, right? But when you come from the fifth dimension, what happens is when you slow down the molecules start to condense again, right? And then once they condense, they start vibrating fast, and then you literally, as you get lower and lower in dimension, you materialize more and more as you get down lower and lower up until you hit the third dimension. So in the fourth dimension, what's happening is you're going from the fifth dimension and then you're descending from into the high fourth dimension. In the high fourth dimension, you can still have a light body. But what's happening is you're going from a light body to a spirit body, right? The spirit body, it deals more with the physical. You see what I'm saying? The light body deals more with the ethereal body. You see what I'm saying? Which is your highest self. You feel me? So when you descend, you literally condense more and more, right? You still have the same body. You feel what I'm saying? Like when you leave this avatar, you still look like yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because that's the expression that you took on in this lifetime up until you ascend to the higher dimensions. You see what I'm saying? But when you're descending, it's like you literally become more and more physical. It really isn't too much to explain. The molecules literally just vibrate slower and slower and slower, and you become more visible. You see
So the
what I'm
only
saying?
reason you're able to touch and see shit is because it's vibrating slow.
Yeah, facts.
The higher the vibration, the less you see of it.
Mm-hmm.
The slower the vibration becomes a solid. So when things are moving the slowest is when you can touch them.
Facts.
That's what makes them solid. But the law of vibration, the law in the universe is nothing is ever still. Everything is always moving. Just because you can't see it moving doesn't mean it's not moving.
Facts.
Everything is always moving. That's the act of being. The act of being is the act of doing.
Facts.
Simple. Simple. But
Oh yeah. I actually wanted you to explain because I need to understand that. Wait, first I'm gonna start with this, and then I want you to explain it. But I'm gonna transition into it for me.
go ahead.
People don't understand, right? Your brain, for instance, your whole body is ran on electricity. If you didn't know, how much electricity in all?
So each cell in your body carries with it 0.07 millivolts of electricity. Times that by all the cells in your body, it's 2.65 trillion volts of electricity flowing through your body at all times.
Now look up how much the average power plant has electricity. You know what I'm saying? How much electricity, how much power does the average power plant hold? And then compare that to how much electricity you have in your body. Right? You're literally a walking nuclear bomb.
Your soul, your spirit is pure electricity. Pure electricity. That's why they got rubber on the bottom of your shoe to keep you separated from nature. Because if you walk around in the grass without them shoes on, you start tapping into that energy.
Or when you walk outside without your shoes on,
It's called grounding.
yeah, your feet gives negative ions to the earth, and then the earth gives you positive ions. That's a scientific fact.
Scientific fact.
That's why it's called grounding, because when you go outside, you release all the negativity into the earth, and the earth renews you with new positive energy. Right? So I'm gonna segue into this. The electricity, every time you think a thought, right? Every time your body does something, because you're always doing something all the time. Even if you're not necessarily aware of it, you're always doing something. You have to breathe, right? You have to breathe at least every second, right? You're always constantly thinking a thought, because most of us don't have a control of our brain, so we're always thinking. Like you're never just in the moment, not thinking. You're always thinking a thought. So every time you think, your brain, the neurons fire off electricity every time. So every second, probably a dozen times, 100 times a second, your brain the neurons are firing and releasing electricity. Every time you think a thought, that thought, because it's energy, right? Once you understand that energy is everything and everything is energy, that thought, that electricity, it leaves your head through your temples, right here. These two indents in your head right here. Every time you think, that thought leaves your head through your temples and goes back into the ether, right? This is how you interact with matter, right? Because this is why I call mind over matter. Because every time you think, the thought leaves your head and it affects reality, right? And molecules are conscious, atoms are conscious, right? Cells are conscious, microscopic entities are conscious. You feel me? Quarks are conscious, electrons and neutrons are conscious. You see what I'm saying? And once you come to your consciousness, once you become conscious, this is when you're able to manipulate these things, right? Because what you would say, right? How are they conscious, right? They're able to think, just like me and you. They think. You see what I'm saying? They think, and once they realize that you're thinking now, this is when you can work in synergy with these molecules. Which is, like I said, it's all just condensed energy. Everything is energy. You see what I'm saying? And so when you think thoughts, you're releasing energy into the ethers every second of the day. And once you understand this is when you're able to manipulate reality, because reality is predicated upon energy, and energy is controlled by thoughts. And your whole reality is controlled by thoughts. You feel me? And once you understand that these particles, these particles are their own entities, and they have their own consciousness, you're able to manipulate the waves. Everything is a wave. Everything is a frequency. Everything is a wave. If you would strip down the colors and all this shit, if you would just go back down to the basis of physical reality, this wall behind us is going like this. It's constantly doing this. Constantly. Now I want you to explain to them the experiment that was done, where they were monitoring these atoms, and
So
they were conscious.
yeah, it's called the two split experiment. You can Google it. You go on YouTube. You can even do it yourself. No, that's a different experiment. That's a different one. So the two split experiment, yes, you can still Google and go on YouTube. And what it was is some scientists had took some atoms. Now atoms have weight. Okay, if something has weight, say like this cord, right? It has mass to it, right? It has mass. If it was a big ball of cord, it would have a lot of value, right? But having mass meaning that it's a solid, right? So if I were to take this and hit it into a pillow or my hand, it would leave a mark, right? So atoms have mass, they have weight, right? You can weigh them. They're solid. So they were taking these I believe it was atoms. Atoms or protons, one of the two. Forgive me if I'm wrong, family. And anyways, they were shooting through these fiber optic cables or lasers or whatever, and they had like a board set up in the back so the atoms would hit the board. Now, naturally, if you throw a marble at a wall, right, it will leave like a little indent in the wall. That's what it's supposed to do, right? So what they realized was that when they shot it through, they look at the wall, they'd see the mark. They're like, oh, okay. Well, the minute they would leave and shoot it back through, it would leave a wave pattern, right? So they're like, what the fuck? So they're like, shoot it through again. They shoot it through again, hits the wall, does what it's supposed to do. They look away and they shoot it through, it leaves a wave pattern. So now scientists are bugging the fuck out. They're like, yo, what is going on with these atoms, right? So then they put a video camera into the room. They say, shoot it through. Hits the wall, does what it's supposed to do. They take the video camera out, shoot it through, hits the wall, makes a wave pattern. Same thing with a stopwatch. And they did this, so many times, and they came to the conclusion that the atom knew it was being watched. It knew when they were in the room. It knew when they had a stopwatch. It knew when they had the camera. It knew when it was being watched. It was conscious. So then they took, what they did was, they cut it in half. And you could take one half, put it in one jar, take that jar, put it in California, take the other half of the same atom, put it in the other jar, put it in, say, Miami. And then observe it, send a charge to one faster than the speed of light, right? It's called instantaneously. The one that they charged in Miami, the one in California moved instantaneously. It's called quantum entanglement. So it's kind of like the same concept when a mother has a baby, they cut the umbilical cord, and you hear these stories all the time where a mother will stand up straight out of a dead sleep and know that something's happened to her baby. Because although they are connected, they are one time one. Well, the universe was one time, everything was connected. Everything was one. The black dot. Okay? So although we're all, this is why I said, if you have this cosmic essence in you, okay, because we're made up of the shit that comes from the stars, from space. If you possess the cosmic essence, the carbon, then we're all connected. It's kind of like as if Source, or what you religious people will call God, were a radio station, right? I'm 101, he's 102, you're 103, the person next to you is 104. We're all part of one united consciousness, but just splinters of it, observing reality from different perspectives and giving data back to Source. Now, whether you want to accept that or not, again, doesn't take away from the fact that it's true. You're going to see in the next couple weeks the energy shift on the planet. A piece of the sun broke off, like I said in the beginning of this lecture. This is what's causing these earthquakes. There's going to be volcanic eruptions. There's going to be tsunamis. There's going to be a lot going on in the upcoming weeks. You're going to see mass, what they call the Great Separation, global warming, the Great Reset. The sun is separating us, right? So all these wars and shit you see, these trains blowing up, it's all distraction. What they're really concerned about is that sun. That's what they're concerned about. That thing in the sky, that sun. That's what they're concerned about. Anything you want to say something before I close out?
Shit. I was just gonna say, the rest of reality, right? Now that you understand that atoms are conscious, molecules are conscious. Everything is conscious, right? Back then, you would hear somebody say, "Oh, this wall is alive," and you were like, "Nigga, you said what is alive?" And you'd be like, "But little do you know, the wall is alive. Everything is conscious. Everything is alive, even if it's stationary, even if it's not biological, it's still alive." You see what I'm saying? And because you have this cosmic essence, you are this cosmic being, right? If you look like me and my dad, right? If you're a Nubian being, that means that you are God manifested in physical form, right? Elohim is plural, like I said. So Elohim, God is multiple entities, right? We're all amalgamation of the same entity, just expressed in like God just wanted to have different expressions, right? But we're all the same entity. If you are a Nubian being, that means you are God manifested in physical form. You see what I'm saying? And the rest of reality is waiting for you to realize that. Like I said in the last lecture, you feel me? You are God. God made you in His image. You literally are God. So that means that you have power to manipulate reality with your thoughts, right? Because that's a godly act. God made you in His image. You see what I'm saying? So that every other molecule that's around you is waiting for you to tell it what to do. You are the master of your reality when you realize it. All right, and that's really all I got to say for this one.
All right, family. We're gonna close this one out. Sorry for taking too much of your time. Hope y'all got it. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the download. Listen, we're not gonna stop, man. Just pay attention to the sun, family. All right, peace out. I see you. I share. Good night.
Not sure.